Hey there, welcome to the Lazy Cat's Guide to Living Well, where lazy is just efficiency with boundaries, and today we are making lazy chicken. And you can see how excited I am. I'm waving my arms in the air because this chicken takes 15 minutes, has 3 ingredients, it feeds you for 4 days, and there's 1 pan to wash. What could be better than that? So let's jump in and get started. Here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a chicken. This one's about 4 pounds, some pepper, some salt. Thyme is optional, but it makes it look like you're trying. You're gonna need a pan that can go in the oven and some twine. And then you're gonna want some paper towels, and if you have it, a meat thermometer. That's it. Okay, next, you're going to preheat your oven to 450 degrees, and while that's heating up, you're going to wash the chicken, and then, and this is really important, you're gonna have to dry it really well, inside and out. The goal of this is to have crispy skin, and that only happens when you remove as much of the moisture as possible, because this recipe is gonna have no oil, no butter, just the chicken's own fat, so make sure that you really put a lot of effort into drying it. Now that the chicken is nice and dry, we're going to just sprinkle it with abundant kosher salt and coarse pepper. And you're going to make sure that it gets right in there, all over the skin. And also make sure you don't forget to rub some inside the cavity, because that's going to give it taste while it cooks. And give it a nice massage, make sure it's nicely rubbed in there. And then we are ready to truss our chicken. The chicken is going to go breast down on your cutting board, and you are going to have that twine go right underneath the wings. And then you're going to pull that twine so that it holds the wings, and then you're just going to cross it underneath the bone that is at the end of the rib cage in an X shape. Once you have that, you can pull it nice and tight together. See that? And then once you have that, see that X there? Pull it nice and tight together. Now all you're gonna do is you're gonna basically make 2 little loops around the legs. One that way, and then you're gonna put another loop around the other leg, and then you're just gonna tie those 2 loops together. Like they're best friends, they're gonna hug and go right into the oven. You're gonna cut off the extra twine. So that is super simple, and that's perfectly trussed chicken. So now you're just gonna drop this right into the pan. No oils, no extra. Slide it into that 450 degree oven. Depending on its size, it's gonna roast anywhere between 40 to 50 minutes. I'm gonna roast it for 50 minutes. 50 minutes later, here we are. Golden skin, crispy, juicy perfection, something a lazy cat would love. Now, if you've got time, sprinkle it on now. You can sprinkle it into the pan juices, onto the skin. It'll smell like roast chicken from commercials. Next, you're just gonna let it rest 10 minutes so it gets soaked in the juices. And after 10 minutes, you're gonna lift that chicken from the pan, and you can see no sticking, no mess, with no extra oils. You're gonna carve it up, juicy, tender, cooked perfectly. Now you can serve the whole chicken hot. I usually make this on a Sunday so I can strip the meat. I store it in Tupperware, and I've got protein for several meals ready for the next few days. The meat's gonna hold for 3-4 days. And of course, if you have a dog, dogs are always thrilled when this happens. He gets the boldest bites. And make sure that you save those pan drippings for extra flavor. And finally, this wouldn't be a lazy cat recipe if cleanup wasn't a breeze, and in this case, you just have to wipe off that pan, wipe off that cutting board, and you're done with the cleanup. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and make sure that you share this with your friends. Please throw me a like or subscribe so you know what else is coming up. I have a lot more exciting stuff coming to you, and just remember, lazy is just efficiency with boundaries. Go live your best life. Bye, see you next time.